Well, so hey, welcome back. Can you believe it's day 5 already? And Friday stands for French fries in my world, but today it also stands for fun. And I really need to work on that. Crystal, on the other hand, she's got that down. I pretty much, it's not a something that I've been very well practiced at through my life. So I'm excited to share our guest today. But I want to remind you that we're doing the Rhythm and Resilience series because my spirit kept talking to me about I have to find a rhythm. I have to tell you, I feel a little closer every day. I think I'm closer than I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not that close. So anyhow, we're trying to focus on getting a rhythm so we can be resilient during this reset time. And so Monday, we talked with John O'Leary about Motivational Monday. Tuesday, we had Total Health with Total Health Tuesday with Shemaine Tate, and she gave us some tools to do to help take care of our lung channel, which is where this virus is attacking. And Wednesday, we did Wednesday Wisdom with Britt Frank, and she shared some wisdom with us about self-care and being more graceful with ourselves. And then yesterday, we did Talk Story Thursday with Crystal Jenkins, and she kind of gave us some fun stuff. She probably could do the fun Friday too, but I didn't think it was fair to have her on 2 days in a row. But actually, I've been following Luke Wade for actually many years. I knew Luke before he actually was doing what he's doing now. Luke, I did not know you were an Army veteran though, and a computer programmer. I did know that. He started an extremely popular adult sports and events company called KC Crew in 2012, which has had over 70,000 league event participants in 8 years in Kansas City alone. Luke has used his KC Crew success to venture into other business verticals, such as software and food beverage concepts that work with and support KC Crew. Hey, Luke, welcome to Rhythm and Resilience.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here. As you said, we've known each other for years. I was just telling my wife this morning, like giving her the story of how we met and following you, and told her how you still call me every year on my birthday. And it's just meant so much.
Don't tell everybody my secrets.
Sorry. But you've been amazing to me ever since before I felt I was an entrepreneur all the way through now. So thank you so much for having me on.
Well, I can imagine this has impacted you a little bit, but I'm watching what you're doing on social, and it happens to be Friday, so we all can participate today. But talk to us a little bit about KC Crew. What gave you the idea? Talk about some of the success you've had.
Sure. So yeah, my background's computer programming and graphic design. And when I moved to Kansas City, I was living downtown and working downtown, but and downtown was really growing. Everybody was talking about how cool downtown was, but yet I played sports my whole life, and I found myself in Kansas City trying to meet new people through playing in sports, and yet there was nothing downtown in a time that everybody said downtown was so cool. And so I found myself driving to Shawnee to play volleyball and Blue Springs to play softball, and I just thought, well, why isn't there something downtown for young professionals? And honestly, I just started a softball league for just me and my friends. I just asked a couple buddies, hey, if I rented a softball field, would you play in this league? And the first year we had 1,000 people sign up. And within 3 years, I added sand volleyball. I still kept my full-time job building websites. And within 3 years, we had 3,000 people playing a year. Was able to actually leave my full-time job after into that third year because someone actually offered me a lot of money for KC Crew. And I honestly didn't even know how much we were making, didn't consider myself a business or an entrepreneur. And once I brought someone in to tell me actually it was worth more than I was offered, light bulb went off and thought, hey, if I could do this in 3 years without really putting much effort into it, what could I do if I did this full time? So left my job. And ever since then, I've been learning business the hard way. That was about 8.5 years ago. Now I've built, obviously using my tech knowledge, I've built a software to manage all of our leagues. That's turned into a business that I sell my software to other people as well. And so the whole concept really is partnering with parks and rec departments, private facilities, and helping them fill their unused space with really cool, fun concepts around sports leagues and events. So our values are actually fun, freedom, and community, tying a little bit of my military background in there. But yeah, our whole idea is just getting people active in the community and meeting new people.
Yeah, I'm a word nerd. Fun, freedom, and community. Well, so talk about, I get the word fun. Like I told you, I've struggled to have fun. I've kind of been nose to the grind, but I'm learning. So talk about why you picked freedom.
Yeah, so freedom, we when we built these values with our teams, we sat down and defined our values several years ago, and just thought about, what are we about? What are we here for? Not only as a business for ourselves, but for the people playing and our employees. So we looked at it as like, we have about 50 part-time employees that almost all of them have full-time jobs. We had a lawyer from Sprint that was actually umpiring some of our softball games just because he enjoyed it. So we gave people the freedom to pick when they worked, how they worked. We train people to be officials, so we don't go out and hire the $25 to $30, $50 an hour officials who went to umpire school. Those people just care about the sport and the rules, and they're not really there to incentivize fun. And so we tried to find people who were fun first, thought about having fun first, and then we taught them the sports they were interested in, how to officiate those. So we gave them the freedom to pick what they wanted to do. But then also we have photographers. We have about 50 photographers who work as independent contractors. We put out a schedule of all of our events and leagues and let them pick when they want to work, how they want to shoot, how they want to do it. So we've really opened up our model to hire people that can work whenever they want, however they want to work, in the sports they want to work at. And then we also offer a ton of range of different sports leagues and events for people, ranging from grilled cheese festivals to zombie crawls to networking events. So we're offering the freedom to choose, what do you like, what do you want to do, and what night of the week. And so we have programming January through December every night of the week, and so people can pick what they like, where they like, and we offer it all over the city. So the freedom was kind of like very, very large and open meaning around that of pick what you want to do and how you want to do it and when you want to do it.
Well, I hear your name all the time, so you definitely have built community. So freedom, fun, freedom, and community. Well, here's a little trivia. I'm not sure you know this, but I used to be an official. I refereed volleyball, basketball, and softball, and I did all the way to Division II. So back in the day, we liked when we got paid that type of money and more money. You know, this is dating myself 30 years ago.
Yeah, and to touch on that a little bit, you need it at that level of skill that you're talking about. You need good officials. You need people that went to school. But at our level, we're just out there to have a good time and have fun. And you don't need the person that's just like, strict and by the rules. You need someone that's, socializing and having a good time. And so that's kind of what our model is. And that's what, nowadays I say, we're after the kids who didn't make the team because they just want to play to have fun. Even though I played college football, my wife played college volleyball, we want to play to have fun. We're not going pro by playing sand volleyball right now. We're not going pro by playing softball. We want the people who are there to have fun, and then we'll make sure they have fun. Because the people who are out there arguing and yelling and caring about the win every week, we don't want them in our group anyway. And so that's how we kind of look at things.
I definitely need to show up there. There's an old saying we used to have: those who can't play coach and those who can't coach referee, or something like that. Depends on where we go to. But
Sure.
I can see my friend Joni here, who's a big sports fan, and shout out to Joni. I got to go to the KU Maui Classic because of Joni, rock chalk. So, okay. So Luke, how can people spice up their life with more fun, especially during COVID when they're kind of stuck at home?
Yep. So obviously, we had to pivot our business very quickly. About a month ago when they locked down the CDC to 50 person or left, I was actually standing at Hy-Vee Arena running pickleball leagues. And we had all these leagues going on. We thought we were going to be able to finish it all. And, with 50 people or less now, 10 people or less now, stay at home, our entire business exploded. We can't do in-person events. We can't do in-person leagues. Like, there's none of that anymore, but you can still create community, and everyone has community. Some people just call them clients or customers. That's your community looking to you as a business to give them something to do. And so we obviously have a little bit better segue into that because we already were providing fun through in-person events. So we just thought, how do we provide fun online? And so our first thing we did was just start putting out information of, here's other things you can do online from home. One of them was just, you can watch the symphony from home. You can tour 500 museums from home. You can do yoga from home. We just started putting out content that really didn't benefit Casey Crew at all, but provided a value to our community of people who were going to be playing sports in the next week and now couldn't do that. So we just thought, let's provide them content because my friends were sharing it. I saw all these people saying, here's things you can do from home. So as a business, we just put that together and put that out for people. So the other thing, obviously, I'm sure some people have been involved in this on the Zoom happy hours or Zoom networking. My family and I actually do a weekly Zoom cookout where we cook a dinner and we have dinner together. And now we're even playing card games. So a lot of people are doing that nowadays. You can still have fun just like this right now. You can still have a good time. And so after we started putting out the list, we started thinking, like, how can we create fun for people through this virtually? And so first thing we put out was a virtual bingo game. We actually email you the bingo cards so you can play on your computer at home. You can print them out. And then I actually pull the bingo balls live. We took a bunch of old ping pong balls, wrote numbers on them. We pull them live. We intermix it with trivia. And so we've been doing one almost every day of the week now. We have companies hiring us to do these team building events for their employees stuck at home. And every single time we do one, we get another person hiring us. I'm doing a 9-year-old birthday party next week. We created a virtual scavenger scavenger hunt for them. So it's just, honestly, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to provide fun, and we're just doing it virtually. I'm using my technology to do all that. And so there's so many ways you can have fun. I know my neighborhood that I live in is an amazing neighborhood with a lot of kids. We're doing these virtual or not virtual anymore. Everybody's walking around the neighborhood. Hopefully all these people are being more active and they stick with it after this is all over, but everybody's taking more walks than they used to. So we started putting bears in our windows, and the kids are doing virtual or, in-person bear hunts as they're walking by. I think they're doing some sort of Easter egg crawl this weekend around the neighborhood. So there's a lot of ideas out there to either be active outside, keep your social distancing and stay home, but also you can do things virtually online. I've been attending a ton of cool events. We have our virtual bingo. We also do a virtual trivia now. We're starting these virtual scavenger hunts where you play from your kitchen table. We tell you to go find something. You have to run and find it in your house and bring it back. We get points for that, and then it ends up being an actual game. And so there's just a lot of ways. To be honest, how can you offer this for your community? What does your community want? That's the number one thing. And then how can you provide it to them? It's really easy with technology such as Zoom as we're on today. So I know I've been rambling, but we've got a lot of fun stuff that's out there and that we're still working on. It's insane to think that we've just been doing this for 3 weeks, and we just did a private virtual bingo for the Chiefs staff. We have one for WeWork coming up in Sprint. And it's honestly, I think where you said you've seen me all over, I've been just putting out my story and telling people, yeah, my business has crashed. I had to lay off all of my employees. It's just now me and my wife. But guess what? We can still offer fun. We can still have a good time. Even though I'm not, making the sort of revenue I need to survive as a business, we're going to get through this. We're staying positive. And at the same time, we're just trying to help our community have stuff to do.
Well, I can't wait to join you. So how often do you do the bingo?
So we do bingo every Tuesday night to the public, and it's free. So you can play for free. You can tip and donate it if you want. We actually have sponsors now that are coming on. We're doing live Zoom commercials with our sponsors, which is really cool. We did a charity bingo for a music charity on Wednesday, and Yamaha sponsored it. We actually had the Yamaha rep come live on the screen and talk about Yamaha, and it's just really neat, all the things you can do. So Tuesday nights is our bingo. If you want to play with us, it's free. Please join us. We have Monday night trivia. We're also doing Friday trivia. And then, we're doing a lot with our companies. We're bringing more and more out now that we're figuring out what works. We're coming out with more options like scavenger hunts and things like that too.
Well, I love the scavenger hunt idea. I think I should do that with my clients. I think we'd have fun. What do you think, Jackie, Joni, Mark? Maybe do some. Eleanor, I like the idea. What do you think? Oh, yep. Yeah. So you started getting people from all over the country joining you?
Yes, we've had people play from Florida, California, New York. We actually had a company out of New York call us and hire us to do a bingo for them that they saw their friend share on social media. So yeah, we have people from all over. And I think, Michelle, that's exactly the point, is just because, you have a business that maybe not be centered around fun, you still have customers and clients who love you. And they want to hear from you and they want to do stuff with you. So offer them something to do, whether it's like this, which is amazing what you're doing, or a fun event, and just to get them together to create that community and let them know they're not alone in these times and that you do truly care and that you're here to help. I think every business should be thinking that way right now.
I love it. I'm thinking about how we could do a scavenger hunt, Ellen. I'm being serious. So hopefully you're taking good notes on this. It's always nice to have somebody on the team that actually helps execute, as you well know that. Well, I'm so proud of you for shifting so fast. And on this, the words that I like to always use are celebrate, guide, connect, which provide hope. And so not only you're providing fun, you're providing hope that there could be some type of normalcy during this time. Talk about, let's say one of our listeners today says, you know what, I want to do the bear thing or something like that for my neighborhood. What's the best way for them to go about that?
So you can find a lot of this stuff on our website, caseycrew.com. Click events. If you scroll down, we've got our top 10 things to do from home, which is now like 20. It went really fast. We put that out very quickly, and we've had over 1,000 people a day coming to that list. Now our bingo's kind of trumping that, but you can go to our website to find the top 10 things you can do from home, online events you can attend from home, and then ways to support local business. But the bear thing is really, really cool. So if you have a community or like a neighborhood email address, that's how it's been coordinated in our neighborhood. And all it is you put a bear in your window, and the kids that, as they're walking around the neighborhood, count the bears and try and win, or count the most bears, or find all the bears in the neighborhood in the windows. I actually didn't have a stuffed bear, but I have a really funny bear jacket. So I actually hung that up in our window. So really it's just getting your neighborhood to participate in things like that. The bear was the first thing we did. And then they started doing almost like Scrabble, where every different house would put different letters in the window, and the kids would walk around and figure out what they can spell. And then again, they would compete to see who spelled the best words and things like that. And then I heard another one where around Easter, where the kids are walking around finding rocks. Obviously, you need to sanitize, all the cleaning stuff needs to happen, but they're painting the rocks and then setting them out around the neighborhood for other kids to find all these different rocks, like an Easter egg hunt. So those are just some of the top examples I've seen for kids in a neighborhood that can work really, really well outside of virtual. So.
Well, great. There's some chats coming on. We got the KC Crews, kccrew.com/events is in your chat section. You can check it out there. Hey, if you have questions, this is also a good time to shoot those in there into the chat section. So, I want to dive a little bit deeper with you, Luke. We've never had this conversation. Your brother's a chiropractor. We've had that conversation and been very successful virtually. And so, talk about some of the creativity. Where did you get the skill sets? Was it from your mother, your father? Have you just had to be crafty?
I don't know. I grew up, I'm the second child. My brother is the first child. I'm the second child, and then I have two younger sisters. One of them is actually, she's physically and mentally disabled. So I grew up kind of taking care of her and, raising her. And my mom's very, very creative. She was a drama teacher and got me into choir and acting. But my dad's always been an entrepreneur, and my whole entire family's actually, now that I know this, as a kid, I didn't think about it, but my entire family's a bunch of entrepreneurs. And so we started working really young. My brother and I had a mowing business, as a lot of young kids did at, 10, 11, 12 years old. And we did really, really well with that. And, having the money off of that to buy things really made a lot of sense. So I think it all comes from that. I had a great childhood in a great neighborhood. And I think my sister really helped me, have the empathy of, I was a very active sports player. You get my sister stuck in a wheelchair and can't even feed herself. And so taking care of her growing up really, I think, brought the service side out of me, as helping people and just trying to include everyone. And so, like I said, I went to college. I did everything that the normal people do. And I didn't even realize I'm an entrepreneur until 3 years into my business when someone offered me money. So I think it took a little bit of hitting on the head to be like, hey, you can do more and you can help more people if you stop doing what you're doing. And so I think that was a big eye opener. But yeah, I think I grew up in an amazing family. My grandparents were married for 74 years before they passed away, 97 or 98 and 94 years old, both entrepreneurs. He was a Southern Baptist preacher, was in the military. And so I had a very, very great family who brought me up very well and with great morals and things like that. So I think it all stems from that.
Well, I'm thinking about this time, and I'm thinking about people parenting their kids, and I'm not. I would guess if I'm a parent, but not a parent. I parent a niece who's 34. Had her when she was 2, and then 10, and then had her full time since 17. But I would hope that somebody would say, if I was a parent, they'd say, oh my God, I had the best childhood. So let's say some parents are getting a chance to reset right now because maybe they were going down a direction. And sometimes I think the momentum takes you down this path. And next thing you know, you go, holy sugar, how'd I get here, right? So what kind of advice would you give to people right now who are parents or surrogate parents or bonus parents to really use this as an opportunity to reset?
Yeah. Yes. I would say, to be honest, I don't have kids yet, but I did. My sisters were quite a bit younger than me, and I did do a lot helping bring them up. And I actually really enjoyed it. My youngest sister, I really did help raise her quite a bit, and I took care. She dropped out of high school and moved in with me, and it was very hard. I will say, all the parents out there who've raised teenagers, I didn't even have her for maybe 2 years. It's very difficult, and I can only imagine how difficult I was at that age too. So I think I want to say that, but I think one of the coolest things, I do have a nephew who's now 15 years old, and I have helped raise him a little bit too, and what he tells me over and over again is he loves how I'm just honest and open with him. I explain everything to him rather than, and I know my mother, still does this to me today. She's like, oh, don't worry about it. You shouldn't worry about it. Like, she doesn't always explain to me why something happened or why our family is in an argument. Like, I don't get the details of it, and it really bothers me, right? And I think what I've realized is my nephew, who's now 15, I've been just very honest with him and I explain everything to him since he was very young. And he's always telling me how he loves that. And he's very, very smart. I think what I've learned is kids are so much smarter than we give them credit for. A lot of times we try and baby them and we don't want to tell them things because it's going to scare them or shock them or whatever it may be. I think if you can explain it in the right way, these kids can really understand it and grow a lot faster. And I even think of that right now, like, give them chores, give them things to do, and explain to them why they have to do it, how the process works. And if you can explain it to them and they can understand it, they're going to learn much quicker, much faster. And then they're going to learn the next thing quicker and faster and then start to be able to do it on their own. So I've seen that a lot to my nephew. And he's told me that many times where he's like, God, I just love how you explain everything to me. Like, my mom doesn't explain this to me. My mom won't explain me that. And he's like, you're always telling me this, the reason behind it and why it's happening. And so I think that's what I've learned is, again, I don't have kids, so I'm not a parent expert by any means, but you know, a lot of times when I'm talking to him, he understands more than I ever thought he could understand. And that's what I've learned.
Some really wise words there of how do we help grow people and share the why. We have a saying in our field that if you know the why, it's much easier to comply. If you know why you need to drink water, you know why you need to eat vegetables or why you should limit processed food, then it's much easier to comply. So I'm glad that you brought that up. So as you've gone through this last, it's hard to believe we're finishing up the 4th week. Is that crazy? The 4th week of this craziness. What are some of the gifts you've been getting?
You know, everything from my friend dropped off Easter cookies yesterday, and I had friends drop off brownies, to even just people in our community donating money to Casey Crew. Those have been amazing gifts. But honestly, some of the best gifts I've seen are the innovation that are just happening in our community in Kansas City, specifically, of everything from, you know, local companies switching from making booze to making hand sanitizer, to all my friend around the street. I donated 200 old Casey Crew t-shirts for her to start making masks with. And I mean, just everybody who's chipping in right now. And again, I've said this from day one for Casey Crew. I don't know that this business would have survived and thrived in any other city than Kansas City because of all the people who have helped me along the way. So I think just seeing the community helping each other and in every way possible has just been absolutely amazing. And I don't live in New York. I don't live in LA, so I don't know what it's like there, but I can say that I've seen just amazing people in Kansas City helping people out. And I hope it is happening in other cities and other communities, but my favorite gifts are just seeing other people help other people.
You know, I say some guidance that I would share with people is to actually, we mentioned this, look for the helpers, but look around and watch the magic happening. And I've shared this a few times this week, and I'll share it again as I'm keeping a little pearls. I'm part of the Hellsberg mentoring program, Luke, which you would be a great asset for us. So
I went to a meeting. Did I see you there? I don't remember. I went to one of their luncheons recently, and I was getting ready to apply before all this happened. So hopefully,
well, great. Well, we still want you to apply. Okay. So I'm part of this mentoring program. I've been involved since 2002, and one of the things that Barnett Hellsberg talks about is what are the pearls? What are the pearls? And so we do something in our organization called Lunch with the Big Guy with Barnett, and Barnett's like 80. I don't know, 85, 87, 88, who you lose track. But they did a virtual lunch, and they actually took lunch to all the members and dropped it off, just like you got brownies yesterday. Please don't bring me brownies. I had way too much sugar last week, but I'm grateful for that. It was a birthday week. And they then after each meeting, they list what are the pearls, what were the takeaways from the meetings that we got from this collective energy. And so I've got a pearl here, and it is to focus on the gift of the day. That's one I put on here. Another one is focus on what I can, not what I cannot do. And that's what you've done. You said, you know, I can't be in these spaces, which you've turned, the Hy-Vee Arena. Holy moly, what a wonderful job you've done with that in Kansas City. But think about what can I do? And so that's what you're doing. And so I would encourage all of our listeners, I'd love to hear kind of from you in the chat section, kind of what are the gifts been for you so far? I know Jackie put in there that everybody's walking around the neighborhood. I'm seeing more people walking. As a wellness person, we know you got to move it, else you lose it, or motion is lotion. So I'm loving that as well. But I love the idea of for kids I live kind of in a retirement area, so I don't have a lot of kids walking around. I guess all this older people could play it, but I love the bear game. I've got some bears. I've got Care Bears because I use them to teach. So what have been some more of the gifts? You've got Kansas City showing up for you. What about for you and your wife? And you guys have only been married, what, 2 years?
Yeah, we just had our year anniversary in September, so only 1 year. But we've been together for 8 years. We've been running the business together for 5 years, and so we've been in this live work together for a long time. So I feel like we were ahead of the game when it comes to, oh my God, what do we do now? I'm stuck with my spouse all the time. So we've set really good guidelines. But she's just been amazing. I mean, honestly, like, the fact that our entire business explodes and I say, we've got to move forward. And she says, you're right. Like, we do. And then she agrees. And she's been, it was her idea to do the bingo. So, it's just like, oh my gosh, and so she's just been very supportive and amazing. And then, I mean, honestly, nowadays, and I think people are talking about this further, is, in the past, people will be like, how are you? Oh, I'm great. Thank you. Like, no one really cared about your answer and you never really told the truth, So I'm trying to do a better job with that when people ask me today. Like, my answer the past 3 weeks have been, I'm alive, like, I'm alive. And to be honest, that may sound negative to you, but it's a positive to me. Every day I wake up is a gift. Like, right now, there's people dying everywhere. There were people dying before. And so if we can start the mind shift and change to thinking that way. And then it goes even further to, I still have a house. I still have money to pay my mortgage. I have food in the fridge. I can walk around the neighborhood. Yes, my business exploded. I could choose to focus on that, or I can look at all the positives and the gifts I truly do have. And that's honestly, like, people keep asking me, how are you so happy? How are you still doing all this stuff? And that's it. I mean, I have everything I could ever ask for right now. And I know there's people out there who do not at all, or dying. So to me, those are the gifts, and which is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Is I'm very lucky, and I want to give back to the people who are not, and so that's my gift. Every day I wake up, I have my wife, I have my family, I have my house, and food, and and until I don't, I'm very lucky.
Well, I would agree with you. And we put out a new deck of quote cards last month, and we were working on the quote cards before all this blew up, and they were they're green. So they were lucky quote cards, and we have some luck quotes in there. And I have to tell you, I agree. People would ask me how I'm doing, and I'm a cup half full. I'm not a full cup, but I'm definitely more positive than negative. And I would say I'm on the right side of the ledge. In the first 2 weeks, I was on the ledge, but I was on the right side of the ledge. That was my answer, to be totally transparent, because it was stressful. And it still is stressful, but there's some sweetness happening right now. Just like I would not have had time to do this community. We have over 150 people signed up. We are having between 25 and 30 people signing on at a given time and hopefully you guys are going to make friends. And that's the magic of this, is being around people that you would never have been around, or hearing, who would have thought about doing bingo, a virtual bingo. Somebody, obviously. So hey, Eleanor, why don't you unmute yourself and share some of the good stuff people are sharing in here, and some of the. I want to also have you talk about what ideas you might want to implement in your own family based on the conversation with Luke. So go ahead, Eleanor.
Hey, everyone. So another mention from Jackie about walking. Rhonda is saying just connecting with emails and conversation from friends and family who just want to check in. Family dinners from Joan, and getting her teenagers to sit down with her. It's been a treat. Sean is also commenting on the walking, which I have to agree with. It's been great to see. I see more kids in my neighborhood than I ever had before. Sean also mentioned just the innovative piece, so that people are getting creative on giving back, and that's been fun to witness. Dorothy's connecting with people all over the country and in Europe. Miriam's doing game nights with her husband and kids. I started a book club yesterday with my friends from college and high school, so I'm excited about that. And Carol's doing family Zoom meetings and happy hours. So,
Carol, sorry to interrupt you, Eleanor, but oh my gosh, like Carol said, that's the first time her siblings have got together in over 10 years.
I just read that. That's amazing.
Yeah, thanks, Eleanor. So there's really good stuff happening. And, I got from Emily, who's one of our team members. She actually called me and she said, I miss our team because our team's on furlough right now. Our doctors are still working. There's people working today. We're kind of divided in shifts. The gift I've had is I've been out of the practice for 2 weeks, so I've had a chance to do fun things like this. I actually I'm back in the practice next week, and I'm excited because I miss my people. But I feel like I'm not as fearful about COVID. I've got more tools and I've got more knowledge. So that's helpful. But not Eleanor, Emily texted me, can we have a staff connection time? I'm like, why didn't I think of that? So we're going to do that this afternoon, right, Eleanor? I think it's this afternoon at 4. And then they're having a family Easter via Zoom. And I thought, well, that's a great idea too. So just so many wonderful ideas. Hey, Jackie, we'll see you soon. Hey, thanks for taking care of all the kids over at Children's Mercy and for all the good the healthcare workers are doing. Thanks for joining us for a bit. We're sending you lots of love, and I'll see you soon. So as we start to shift the conversation, I love about phone. We've talked about gifts. Are there habits that you're in, self-care habits that you're implementing into your life that you've been wanting to do the last few years and you just haven't during this time?
No, I had a pretty big health scare several years ago and went to a program for people with PTSD and trauma, and that really got me on a great path of mindfulness and meditation and honestly yoga. And I've been doing that for quite a while, so I think I've just upped my intake of that, doing more of that, more of the meditation, more of the mindfulness and things like that. That, again, I can't speak. It's volumes on what that's done to my life. Is being able to control those inner thoughts and have empathy for other people. And so I've upped my my yoga and mindfulness and meditation regimen that I normally would do just in the mornings. I'm doing that more often. And then, yeah, just keeping up the activity. You know, I stopped working out a little bit once this all started, but I'm back into that starting last week and feeling a million times better. And so, yeah, I think, again, just the health side of things is like staying active and getting your mind right. Those are the top two things that I think people need right now. And obviously the activeness goes with that, but really making sure that you can handle this mentally is probably the number one thing. And I think the reason I'm doing so well with it right now is what I've started 2 years ago. I think if this would have happened to me 2 years ago before that, I would have had a much different conversation with you today.
Well, it sounds like you'd put the odds in your favor. You know, and that's kind of this whole message that my podcast, you might know, is called Small Changes, Big Shifts. Put the odds in your favor, because shift is going to happen. I don't think we expect it to happen to every single soul on the planet right now. But, you know, I'm so grateful that I had a decent workout regimen before, and I had a decent, I've changed my supplementation a little bit, but I'm doing 70% of what I was doing before, but I'd already been doing that. So it's not like I have to get this whole new habit. So I feel like I've definitely have put the odds in my favor. So that's awesome. When you think about young people, and I'm going to put you in the young people category here,
Thank you.
what do you think they need from the generation before them? How can we serve them better, and how can we show up for them better?
Oh, wow. So that's actually been one of my top things right now. Is I've been in business for 8 years, and like I said, I have really struggled learning the business side of my business. And my recent, epiphany or realization is that I do need help from mentors. And so last year I started getting mentors and asking people to be my mentors and helping me out. And Harry Campbell is one of those that just recently said yes, and he's been unbelievable. So I think, honestly, the number one thing that the older generation has is obviously experience, like letting us know what works, what doesn't work. What we're going through right now is a completely new experience, but we've been through trauma and struggle before. And so what worked for them when they went through that themselves, and what didn't work, learning the things that failed is just as important as learning the things that worked. So I think the experience of what has worked for an older generation through what they've been through is the number one thing. And I think obviously that's where, reading books from people comes into, is they're pouring their knowledge into those books. And so that's another thing I changed several years ago, is trying to read a book a month. And so I think just letting us know and sharing the knowledge that you have is the number one thing. And I think younger people need to be more open to receiving that. I know as a teenager and even in your 20s, it's harder to do that. But once you struggle and fall down quite a bit, you're starting to realize that they knew what they were talking about. So being more open-minded as a young person and just absorb as much as you can and think what's for you and what's not for you after you take it in and realize that is great. So just sharing the knowledge, I think, would be the number one thing.
Well, we're so excited that you're going to apply for the Hellsberg Mentoring Program. And I'm going to actually give them an idea when we get done here. I'm going to call them and say, why don't we do a virtual lunch and learn for potential mentees and be guiding them right now? I think that's a wonderful idea. Here's an idea that I just thought about having this conversation. And so imagine that your child interviews the grandparent on Zoom. And what's so great about Zoom, you could record it. And you could video it. So think about how you could be taking time that we normally don't have. I don't know about you. I have a little bit more free time. I don't have a ton of free time, but I have more free time than I've ever had. But I'm thinking, gosh, if I was struggling with something to do, what a beautiful gift that would be. Or I'm thinking I might do it. I might actually call my nieces and nephews and interview them. Maybe I'll do that and create it and then I could turn around and give that to them. So I love that we're having some creative ideas of ways to not only have fun, but also give people guidance.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Yeah, that's actually, my grandparents literally just passed away. It was, my grandfather was 2 days after their 74th wedding anniversary in December. And then my grandmother just passed away in January, 98 and 94, 74 years together. One of the most valued thing that I have from them is 3 years ago, I started thinking, they're in their 90s. How long are they going to last? I started recording every conversation I had with them. And I still had that. And at their funeral, I literally shared it with my sister and my brother, and they were in tears, and just having those conversations were unbelievable. And so even like your kids, your niece, nephew, anyone you can, just having that's very, very valuable. And so I love that idea.
Well, there's a book called All About Us. Have you heard of it?
I have not.
Yeah, All About Me and All About Us. Eleanor, maybe you can put that in the show notes. If right now an idea, if you're not coupled up, maybe you do the All About Me and you start to really dial in who are you and what is important. And then the All About Us with your partnership. It is a wonderful book. It used to be one of the gifts I'd give out to my clients that got married, and I kind of have slipped away, and should go back to that. That's a good reminder. You know how sometimes you find good stuff and you let it go, but that's Joni, I see you. It's a great book, isn't it? So it would be great to tag team on that. Well, Mark, I have to tell you, it has been such a breath of fresh air to see the vibration that you're carrying for our city, for the young people. And I'm guessing, tell me the demographics. And by the way, this is a great time to give Mark some love right now, because we're going to wrap up here in a little bit. I'm sorry, that's his brother, Mark. Luke.
I know, it's okay. I got it my whole life. It's fine. It's okay.
Well, but I knew you first, so I should not make those mistakes. So Luke, what's your demographics of KC Crew?
So our core demographics 25 to 34 years old. And that's last year, 2018 and 2019, we had 15,000 participants each year. And the demographics, which I put together for our sponsors, even blew my mind. It was 30% of Kansas Cityans 25 to 34 played in our leagues. So it's pretty crazy.
Who does not want that demographic right now, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Mark, I'm going to ask a selfish question, or selfful question. Have you done much with the YMCA?
No, I have not. I did meet with the vice president early last year, and we were talking about how we could work together and how we could help each other. They're actually amazing. I would love to help them, but what they do is already amazing. I think my software and maybe some marketing help could benefit them, but they're an amazing community already and a great program. And we started talking to them about how we could help them fill some of their unused space as well. So I would love to continue that conversation after this is over. But we just had brief conversations with them.
Who did you talk with? Mark, or guy or girl?
It was a guy. I can't remember. I'm sure I could look it up really quickly.
Pretty handsome, tall, silver hair.
If I say no, I think the other guy might be mad.
John Mikos. John Mikos. Well, I'm thinking I've got my YMCA board hat on right now, and I think we need you now. I don't think we should be waiting. I don't know if most people realize this. The Y is the third largest membership organization in the world, behind AAA, AARP, and then you got the Y.
Gary Lynn.
Okay, well, we need to get you talking to John Mikos tomorrow.
Okay.
Because this is an interesting opportunity. The Y needs to get creative, like you've gotten creative, and it sounds like you've got some ideas to help. So this could be really good. That's my takeaway from today. So, all right. Anything else that you want to share around guidance, celebration, connection, or hope. Once again, kccrew.com. Mark Luke is also very active on LinkedIn as well as Facebook. You can see some of the events he's put out there. I'd encourage you to like him there and share that stuff with your community. All right, Luke, anything else you want to share before we start to wrap up?
One, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for everything you're doing. I've always enjoyed talking to you and following you and getting your voicemails every year on my birthday. It really does mean a lot. So thank you for everything you've done and the support you've given me over the years. I think the number one thing right now is just waking up every day and being grateful. And I think that's going to help you. And if you can get your kids to think of the positive thing they have every day, it's really going to change your outlook on everything every day. So.
Great wisdom. So I'd like to end the show with how you inspire me, and that I think about the word hope. Well, you inspire me how you just recreated a whole nother business that will live beyond this COVID crisis right now and creating connection. I love how you're so giving. I watch you freely in networking groups, connecting people and championing people and loving them up. And that's really a great gift. And our followers here love that today was fun and informative. I want to tell you, we probably have laughed more today. We did have that 1 minute of laugh, maybe yesterday or the day before, I can't even remember. But that was fun. You do have a beautiful vibration and a beautiful energy about you. You can tell you've done your work. And that's one reason why you've probably been so successful. We loved your pure intentions for the city, and Eleanor says for her generation. And once again, thank you so much for sharing your love and light with us today.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your kind words. I appreciate it. Tuning in today. Thank you so much.
Well, to remind you all, we're back here Monday at noon. I will not, or 12:30. I will not see you Saturday or Sunday. I'm going to take the weekend to do some other things, but I will be back on Monday with Terry Grieg, and Terry will be here on Motivational Monday. She's got a powerful story in her book's called Powered by Hope. So you see how I kind of did that? I love it when it flows together, but she's got a powerful story. You will love her. So, hey, have a great weekend. Do something really fun for yourself and fun for your families. All right. Happy Fun Friday. Bye, everybody.